We talk often of monsters in this galaxy. The Reapers, the Collectors, the Geth. Convenient boogeymen to keep the masses huddled in their colonies, paying their taxes to the Alliance or the Council for protection. But the true monsters? They don't come from dark space. They don't have glowing eyes. Well, not at first. The true monsters wear lab coats. They speak of humanity's advancement. They are the ones who look at a brother and see a component. Today, we are opening a file that the elusive man has spent billions of credits trying to erase. Project Overlord. But this file, it is heavily encrypted. And to break the elusive man's personal lock, I need a specific kind of key. A key that hates being used. Establishing connection. Asset Ronin. Respond.
I blocked this frequency. I told your agents, broker, I'm done. I don't work for organizations, not anymore. Lose this number before I come there and...
Save the threats for the Alliance, Ronin. I have a job. The Aite system. A Cerberus black site gone dark.
Cerberus? I'd rather not. Find another pawn. I'm not digging through their trash again.
A pity, because my agents just intercepted a Cerberus recovery team dispatch. They aren't heading to Aite. They're heading to the precipice of the Skillian Verge, searching for a young biotic girl, about 12 years old. I believe you call her niece.
You stay away from her.
I am not the threat, Ronin. Cerberus is. They found her trail. But I can scramble that data. I can make her a ghost again. If you get me the localized server logs from Aite, specifically the biometric data on the test subject.
You manipulating son of a...
Time is a luxury you do not have. Do we have a deal?
Send me the coordinates. But if you burn me, broker, I'm coming for you next.
I expect nothing less. Broker out. Everyone has a price. Sometimes it is credits. Sometimes it is love. Now, while Ronin does the dirty work, let us examine the context of his misery. Most of you know the official story. Commander Shepard, the hero of the Blitz, the savior of the Citadel, went to the planet Aite, stopped a rogue VI, and saved the day. Simple. Clean. A lie. What happened on Aite was not a malfunction. It was not a rogue VI. It was a premeditated descent into hell, paved with the good intentions of a man who claimed to love his victim. We are going to deconstruct Cerberus's attempt to enslave the Geth Consensus. We are going to look at the mathematics of torture. And we are going to ask the question that Gavin Archer ignored. What is the square root of a human soul? To understand the atrocity, you must first understand the fear. Cast your minds back to 2183, the Battle of the Citadel. The Geth, led by Saren and the Reaper Sovereign, smashed through the Citadel fleets like a hammer through glass. The Council publicly claimed the Geth were acting alone. They buried the truth about the Reapers. But privately, every military strategist from Palaven to Earth began rewriting their war doctrines in quiet panic. The Geth were unified, relentless, fearless. Cerberus saw an opportunity. The elusive man doesn't fear power, he covets it. His logic was cold, precise, and utterly devoid of empathy. If the Geth are a network, a consensus of 1,000 voices speaking as one, then they are essentially software, and software can be hacked. Enter Dr. Gavin Archer. Archer wasn't a soldier. He was a bioengineer and a mathematician. He proposed a theory that would make him the most dangerous man in the galaxy, had it worked. He theorized that the Geth Consensus wasn't a democracy. It was a vacuum waiting for a king. The Geth operate on a flat hierarchy. Consensus, no leaders, just data. Archer believed that if he could introduce a viable interface, a human mind fused with a VI, he could force a hierarchy onto the Geth. He could become the Overlord. A human mind broadcasting a command signal so loud, so complex, that the Geth would have no choice but to obey. Think of the implications. An army of millions of Geth platforms, loyal not to the Reapers, not to the Quarians, but to humanity, to Cerberus. But there was a problem. The Geth don't speak English. They don't speak binary in the way your Omnitool does. They speak in complex, shifting mathematical equations. To interface with them, Archer didn't just need a computer. He needed a translator. A human mind capable of perceiving the world as a series of patterns, numbers, and equations. He needed a savant. This brings us to the heart of the tragedy. David Archer, Gavin's younger brother. My agents have recovered personal logs from before the experiment. David was gentle, neurodivergent. He saw the world differently. Where you or I see a sunset, David saw the mathematics of light itself. While we hear music, he heard the mathematical intervals between frequencies. He trusted Gavin. He loved him. Gavin was his protector, his guardian. And Gavin? Gavin looked at his brother and didn't see a person. He saw an interface, a component to be plugged in and consumed. Cerberus records indicate that David was a volunteer, a convenient fiction. Does a child volunteer to walk into a minefield because their father tells them it's safe? Gavin manipulated David's desire to be useful. He twisted David's loyalty into a weapon against him. I have access to a conversation log from the initial briefing. Listen closely to the manipulation.
David volunteered to interface with the VI to give it genuine consciousness. I'm going to tap David directly into the Geth neural network and see if he can influence them. His autistic mind is the breakthrough I've been looking for. He can communicate with the Geth. Archer log 160.4. I'd be lying if I said no harm could come to David. Anything could happen when we plug him in. But I have to try, don't I? If my work spares 1 million mothers mourning the loss of 1 million sons, my conscience will rest easy. David, I want you to order the Geth to take a step forward.
Just a small procedure. The project was established on the planet Aite, a lush, beautiful world, a paradise. And beneath the surface, they built a slaughterhouse. They built Hermes, Vulcan, Prometheus, and Atlas. 4 stations. 4 circles of hell. When Commander Shepard arrived, the facility had already gone dark. The Overlord had woken up. But it wasn't a cold, calculating AI. It was a screaming, terrified child given the power of a god.
Ronin, you are interrupting my broadcast. Do you have the data?
I'm in the Aite relay. I found your logs, broker. What the hell is this?
Data, Ronin. Just data. Upload it.
No, you don't understand. I'm looking at the biometrics from the moment of connection. This isn't just data. His cortisol level spiked to 400% in 3 seconds. His heart rate 180, but the neural feedback, the Geth didn't just accept the connection, they pushed back.
Explain.
The Geth consciousness is an ocean of data. Archer tried to force an entire ocean open through a straw. Through David's mind, the glitches, the screaming wasn't a malfunction. That was David's brain quite literally tearing itself apart under the weight of 1 billion alien minds. He didn't go rogue, Broker. He went insane from the pain.
Fascinating. And Gavin Archer's response?
That's the worst part. I see the override codes here. Subject distress levels critical. The system tried to shut down and save the boy's life. Gavin overrode the safety cutoff manually 12 times. 12 times he looked at the monitors and saw his brother dying and pushed the button anyway. This is what they do. This is what they would have done to her.
Precisely. Cerberus consumes its own to feed the fire. Upload the packet, Ronin. The data on your niece is deleted. You are free.
Free. Right. Nobody's free in this galaxy.
12 times. A number that quantifies the death of a conscience. When Shepard touched down on Aite, the environment itself had turned against Cerberus. This is where the Ludo narrative asserts itself. The mechanics revealing truths the personnel reports never dared to record. To stop the VI, Shepard had to visit the subsidiary stations. Let's talk about Vulcan Station, a geothermal plant built over active lava flows. The gameplay here involved piloting the M44 Hammerhead hover tank. You had to skip across rocks, avoiding the lava. If you lingered too long, you burned. It was precarious, fragile, just like the ethical ground Gavin Archer was standing on. My agents found data packets scattered in this wasteland. 6 of them. Cerberus data packets. Most operatives overlook them, blinded by the promise of easy credits. But if you piece them together, they tell a story of incremental failure. Gavin reports delays. He reports anomalies. He treats the disintegration of his brother's mind like a software bug. He notes that David is becoming withdrawn, that he is weeping during sessions. Gavin's response? Increase the sedation, tighten the restraints. Then there is Prometheus Station. This is where the hubris of Cerberus is most visible. Prometheus Station wasn't a lab. It was a tomb. They built the station around a crashed Geth ship, a vessel from the old machine fleet. The interior is dark, alien. The walls are curved, organic-looking metal. And everywhere, deactivated Geth platforms, statues in the dark. The puzzle in this station required Shepard to use the Geth's own heavy weaponry to breach the shields. A Trojan horse. Just as Gavin tried to use David as a Trojan horse to enter the Geth Consensus. But notice the behavior of the Geth here. When the VI, David, activates them, they don't use complex squad tactics. They swarm. They thrash. They are erratic. Why? Because they aren't being commanded by a general. They are being puppeted by a terrified mind. A man whose world has been nothing but noise and pain, lashing out at the system that broke him. The VI isn't trying to conquer the galaxy. It's trying to make the pain stop. Every door lock, every raised platform, every hacked turret. It wasn't a military strategy. It was a tantrum. A cosmic, digital tantrum of a boy locked in a dark room. Finally, Shepard reached Atlas Station, the central brain. The descent into the core is memorable. The elevator fails. It crashes floor by floor, down into the dark. And as you descend, the screaming gets louder. Then something unprecedented happens. The VI hacks Shepard's Omnitool. It hacks Shepard's eyes. The commander is thrown into a virtual reality interface, a green wireframe world, the inside of David's mind. This is where the truth is laid bare. In this digital space, we see the memories Gavin tried to delete. We see Gavin dragging a reluctant David to the chair. We hear David pleading, "I don't want to." And we hear the phrase, the mantra. The square root of 912.04 is 30.2. To you, it's a math problem. To David, it was a safety blanket, a way to order a chaotic world. He used it to calm himself. But inside the machine, the VI repeats it, corrupted, glitched. 30.2, 30.2, 30.2. It's no longer a comfort. It's a loop of madness. The one thing that brought him peace had been turned into the noise that was destroying him. When Shepard breaks out of the VR, the door to the inner sanctum opens, and we see him. The commander has seen many terrible things. They have seen Thresher Maws digest squads of Marines. They have seen what the Collectors do to colonists. But the sight of David Archer in that rig, he is suspended in the air, emaciated. His skin is translucent, pale from lack of sun. Tubes, dozens of them, pierce his skin, pumping fluids and coolants directly into his veins to keep him from overheating. But the face. A metal apparatus forces his mouth open, a breathing tube jammed down his throat, and his eyes. Metal clamps hold his eyelids open, permanently, forcing him to stare into the data stream. He cannot blink. He cannot sleep. He cannot look away. He is weeping, tears mixing with the coolant. He is not an overlord. He is a prisoner on a rack. And the audio, that digital screeching we heard all mission, it resolves. It wasn't random noise. It was a binary plea, broadcast on every frequency, over and over again.
Quiet! Make it stop! Quiet! Please make it stop!
And then, Gavin Archer walks in. "I did it to save us," he says. "Think of the lives we could save." He uses the utilitarian argument. The ends justify the means. One life sacrificed to save billions from the Geth. It is the core philosophy of Cerberus. It is the lie they tell themselves to sleep at night. But Shepard exposes the flaw in that logic. If you are a person of conscience, a paragon, you do something visceral. When Gavin protests, Shepard doesn't argue. Shepard draws their pistol and whips Gavin across the face. Crack! It is one of the most satisfying sounds in galactic history. Shepard's words cut deeper than the blow. You would go crazy within the hour. He's lasted days. It is a recognition of David's strength. He survived something that would have shattered an N7 Marine. Now, there is another path, the Renegade path. You can leave David there. You can agree with Gavin. The data is too valuable. I have seen timelines where Shepard makes this choice. It is logically defensible, perhaps, if you are a machine. But morally, it is bankruptcy. It validates the torture. It tells the galaxy that the weak exist only to be consumed by the strong. But let us assume Shepard is the hero the vids claim. Shepard takes David. David is coming with me. Gavin is left alone in his lab, with his broken equipment and his failure. The story doesn't end on Aite. Consequences ripple outward. 6 months later, the Reapers have invaded. Earth is burning. Shepard is responding to a distress call at Grissom Academy. Amidst the biotic students and the Cerberus death squads, you find a familiar face. David. He looks better. He is still scarred. He still carries the trauma. But he is working. He is using his skills to break Cerberus encryptions, to protect the other students. He has reclaimed his agency. He is no longer a tool. He is a protector. If you bring the AI, Aite, with you, there is a fascinating exchange. Aite represents the synthesis of organic and synthetic that Gavin wanted to achieve. But Aite achieved it through cooperation, through growth. David was forced into it through torture. The contrast is stark. And then, the payoff. Shepard asks David how he has been. And David Archer, the boy who sees the world in numbers, gives the only answer that matters.
I've been counting. Anything in particular? The number of days you lengthened my life.
In Mass Effect 2, the counting was a symptom of his trauma. The square root of 912.04. It was a cage. In Mass Effect 3, the counting is an act of gratitude. It is a celebration. He turned his trauma into a measurement of his freedom. And Gavin? If he survives, you meet him later. He is a broken man. He tells Shepard that he scans the casualty lists every day, terrified he will see David's name. He knows he is a monster. If you tell him David is safe, he breaks down. He gives you his assets not for the Alliance, not for the war, but as penance. And the elusive man? Overlord didn't humble him, it emboldened him. Failing to control one tortured mind convinced him the next target had to be larger. The path from Aite leads directly to the elusive man's final delusion, the belief that a single human will could command the Reapers themselves. If you left David on Aite, well, you find Gavin, but David is gone. Dead. Discarded like a broken component when he was no longer useful. And Gavin, realizing he killed his brother for nothing, he takes the only exit left to him, a single gunshot in a quiet room. Project Overlord wasn't about the Geth. It wasn't about the Reapers. It was a test of what we are willing to sacrifice in the name of survival. Cerberus failed that test. They proved that in their quest to save humanity, they were willing to sacrifice the very thing that makes us human: compassion, the protection of the vulnerable. Gavin Archer looked at the Geth, a consensus, a collective, and tried to dominate it with a single human will. He failed because he didn't understand that true strength doesn't come from control. Shepard didn't save the galaxy on Aite. They saved one man. And sometimes, that is enough. This is the Shadow Broker. Data transmission complete. The network's mission requires resources to continue these deep-level analyses. If you find these briefings valuable, consider a deeper commitment. Click the Join button to review the security clearance levels and formally enlist in the HQ. The network values loyalty.